So this is day 11. I'm about 200 mile out of Cook Strait, and it's been slow, steady progress. Probably a little bit longer than I thought, but I got stuck with a couple of highs, which meant literally I was sitting for 12 hours each time, literally going nowhere. A little different to today and yesterday and forecast for tomorrow, which is southeasterlies 2025, and pretty much the stern starboard quarter. So that's actually good direction for me. I've just had a bit of lunch, leftovers of lunch, which was actually a really nice omelette. My wind vane is doing a marvellous job still steering for me. This is typically what that view looks like any day of the week, with the wind vane just jiggling away there. When I look at it like this, it's a reasonable swell running, but no breaking waves or anything like that, so it's actually reasonably good conditions, with periodically just the odd bullet or two coming from the southwest, which will have a bit of rain and a gust of sort of 30-35 and secured, so it's not going to go anywhere. And if it was really potential for a broach or anything like that, I'd put the top one in as well. I lock up top here, so that's not going to go anywhere. Put this down so that keeps any potential splashing from the side here out of my cabin. And there we are, that's where we're heading. I'm just trying to get a bit of height here on Cape Farewell. I'm not going to go too much higher and come in a little more broad on it, but right now I'm just trying to get a bit north onto our course. You can see we're doing 5.5 knots apparent in sort of 15 to 20 knots of apparent. It's probably more likely to be close to 25 knots. And up front I've got my number 3, pretty tough little sail, this one. It's hanked on pretty tight, and for running pretty much downwind, which is what I'm doing, having that sheeted on quite tight works well balance wise with my main. I've got 3 reefs in my main, and if anything, there's probably a little bit too much main for the sail that I've got up front in terms of just balance. It's sort of okay, but just I either need to put up my trysail, which actually runs quite well as a pair, not the trysail, the storm jib, and my number 3. I've had those running. They've got a very similar cut to them, and if I was going a bit broader, I might do that a bit later. But anyway, we're travelling along between 5 and 6 knots, which is about okay for me. Could be going faster if I put up a bit more sail, but I've got a long way to go here, and I'm just caring for the boat, and if I do that, it'll look after me, so not putting too much stress and strain on anything at this early stage of what is a pretty long voyage. It's interesting, I've really not been doing too much filming or any photography really. I don't know, the first week or so is pretty absorbing. It just takes a while to get a boat routine together, and quite frankly I just didn't have the mental bandwidth to be thinking about the camera and where I could put it and film it. It was that first week of 10 days were pretty exhausting. Yesterday was the first day I really started to relax and just do a few things around the boat. I've had really no trouble with the boat whatsoever. A couple of minor things. I've got a plumbing issue, which isn't the end of the world, but is just a bit annoying given I spent so much time on that plumbing. And I think what's happened is the tank, retaining tank, somehow has got blocked on the outlet from the tank to the hose which takes it out to sea, and right now I think it's full of probably something like 60 litres of shit, and I'm a bit careful about undoing that bottom hose to see if there's something stuck up there. There shouldn't be, because I cleaned it all out, so I don't know, but I'll approach that one with some caution. The only other small issues, my Victron energy monitor, which sort of tells me what's going in from solar and also wind, that seems to have given up the ghost, and troubleshooting that, it was a fuse issue. But I think the star of the show is my wind vane. I don't know, I just am in awe. It's a much better steerer than I am, literally in all conditions. Even with this pretty much downwind, we're running at about between 130 to 150 degrees apparent. You know, that can be quite twitchy to steer at, and particularly in seas like this, which, you know, can move the stern of the boat around a bit, and next thing you know, you've got an involuntary jibe. This thing is much better at this than I am. If it breaks, I'm just giving up and going home, because I can't imagine what would happen if, well, you just can't steer 24/7. Just talking about steering, I've got a wheel pilot. It's a Raymarine wheel pilot, very reliable autopilots. Unfortunately, I've got many spare parts for this, because I thought if the wind vane crapped out on me, then I need some way to steer. And whilst I've got some spares for the wind vane, I'm talking about some sort of catastrophic failure for the wind vane, like, you know, that metal tube gives up the ghost, or some other fundamental structure rather than the spares that I've got. You know, if I have a major structural failure with that, then that thing's just going to give up. So I thought, well, okay, I've got my Raymarine wheel pilot, but the other evening, it always happens at night, my wind vane was struggling, and I couldn't work out what the issue was, and the steering itself was very stiff, and it turned out it was the Raymarine wind pilot itself. It's got obviously some obstruction in the drum, which at like 2 a.m. in the morning, I had to take this wheel off, take off the drum off the wheel pilot, off the wheel, and I've got it sitting inside. I'm hopeful all it is just maybe a bit salt encrusted in the drum itself where the belt runs, and I just need to get it out and give it a bit of a clean, then I'll put it back on again. I haven't needed to use it, I'm not planning to use it, but it is a backup in case, as I say, my wind vane craps out on me.